Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. This video I'm gonna talk about briefly about OLED and why I stopped recommending OLED. What happened? Just to give you a general story about my experience with the OLED. Okay, and this is gonna be an honest experience about the this panel organic light emitting diodes. Here's the deal. When originally they announced they're going to start producing these new panels called organic light emitting diodes, I was very excited. Obviously, just like everybody else, I was like, "Man, this is the future. This is it. This is going to replace LCD panels, and we're going to be like all having OLEDs on our screens, on our monitors, everywhere you're gonna see OLED. OLED's gonna be dominating, right? I was just hyped, just like you, just like everybody else. I had this hype about the OLED, and I purchased it. I purchased the OLED. First, I was skeptical because it was very expensive. I remember what was it, E6, the one that Ridley Scott was recommending, along with Francis Ford Coppola. They were basically advertising the OLED from the LG. This is how beautiful movies look on this panel. Like, this is how the movies are supposed to be experienced. Da 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 da. Look, man, look, they were being paid to advertise. All right, so that's that. But that wasn't the main reason why I bought it. I bought it because I really was intrigued uh, to have a panel where it doesn't have any backlit. It doesn't have any LCD. I was like, wow, it's about time that we get rid of LCD panels and go with something like organic light emitting diodes. It's similar method to plasma, but it's not completely like plasma. Okay, uh, I hate the fact that people are using a comparison with plasma. You know, yes, yes and no. Yes, you can compare it to plasma, but plasma, it's still using a different method to warm up that screen than, let's say, organic light emitting diodes. One big difference between plasma and OLED is the OLED, it's very sufficient when it comes to saving your energy bill. OLED doesn't eat too much of your energy bill. So that's the one positive about the OLED. It doesn't overheats, like, for example, your LCD panel. You know, and I'm being honest here. I'm just telling you what the OLED is, and I'll get to the bottom of the as to why I couldn't recommend it. Okay, I just need you guys to stick with me. You want to learn, you want to know my story about the OLED. Well, here I am to tell you that story. Uh, the problem with the LCD LED panels is they get to turn warm as well because they're emitting that backlit. All right. Yes, they're LEDs, but the LEDs can get very bright. When you're talking about 1600 nits, that's very bright, my friend. All right. That's as equal as to what the police cars are using on their LED lights. They're very bright, like red and blue. So, pretty much, that's what you're emitting from that TV. I think they go higher. I think they go up to 4,000, 10,000 nits, those LED lights on the cop cars. But I'm saying, they get very bright. Um, the OLED doesn't use too much of an energy, believe it or not. And this is why they're also using organic light emitting diodes called AMOLED on a Samsung phones and some other phones as well, because it's very sufficient. Because it doesn't use too much of energy. Therefore, they can save the battery life and your bill, electrical bill. All right. While the plasma television will drain. Think of plasma like a microwave. It takes a while for it just to come to the screen to warm up and get everything ready for you. It takes a while. And the response time on the plasma was just god awful, moving around. Sure, plasma gave you really good viewing angles. It was great for the movies back then, but the biggest problem with the plasma was that it burns out and then you're done. Okay, that's because it needs to warm up the entire panel. And another problem with plasma is it drains. I mean, when I had my Panasonic plasma, my electrical bill was just bananas, man. It was like total bananas, all right? So yes, you can compare it, kind of, you can compare it to OLED, but it's not really a good comparison, okay? Uh, they have one thing in common is the burn-in. You know, the one thing that you can compare OLED to plasma is that burn-in that they have. You know, like if I pull up my hand like this and leave it like that for a sufficient amount of time, you're gonna see that ghosting of that retention on the screen. All right, and then that burn-in might stay in on the screen, or even this microphone, or let's say, for example, well, a good example is this microphone might stay burned in on your OLED. If you pause this video and you watch it for like a certain amount of time, you will see that burn in like on this microphone. Um, so I guess you can kind of compare it to plasma, but plasma drain more electricity from your you know bill, meaning that it wasn't a electricity friendly device television. I mean, I don't even know how to define it, but it's just uh, if you had plasma, expect to see your electrical bill be higher. Okay, and also expect your room to be very warm due to the fact that the heat's going to be coming out of that plasma, which is ridiculous. All right. Now let's talk about the OLED. OLED doesn't do that. OLED really, doesn't use too much of energy, and that's the great thing about the OLED is that it's very sufficient when it comes to your electrical bill. That's all cool. You see, here's something people need to understand about me and OLED. I don't have any problems with OLED and picture quality of the OLED. I didn't care that it doesn't get more brighter than 800 nits. I was okay with that. Honestly, it didn't bother me. I was gonna watch the movies in the dark anyway. Um, and it didn't bother me also that it didn't have any backlit. Actually, I love the fact that it didn't have any backlit, that it was emitting by itself, meaning every and each pixel, every and each color will be emitting, meaning that this green, this red, this dark black right here will be emitting. The white bright will be emitting all by itself. Everything it's emitting by itself. So that means you're getting the picture perfect color, picture perfect contrast ratio. I mean, there's no denying here. I'm not denying. I want you guys to listen to me very closely. There's no denying. No one's denying it. No one's saying that OLED doesn't have the best picture quality. Yes, OLED does have the best picture quality. No one is denying that. Okay. The problem is not the picture quality. This is where people confuse me. They think this is why I don't. Well, look, I love the picture quality of OLED. If you guys stop this video and you type in Mr. 4K Upscaler OLED, find me a video where I said the picture quality on the OLED sucks. You're not gonna find it. I never said that. I never even acknowledged that anywhere in my videos. So picture quality on the OLED, it's definitely one of the best. Problem is, and this is what I want you guys to understand. I had my B6 first. I loved it, but I had it for like a short period of time. I wasn't aware of the burn-ins. I wasn't aware of all this other stuff, retention on the screen, because I was testing it. It was a $3,000 TV. Actually, it was $3,200 TV. It was very expensive back then. All right. And also, I was kind of skeptical. Hey, man, this is $3,200. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, man. This is a lot of money for a television, okay? So I was kind of messing around with the B6. Then I find out that, hey, there's a C6. And C6 is also uh, similar to the B6, except that it has a 3D and a little bit of a curvature. And I was like, shit, why don't I just go ahead and get myself a C6? Let me trade in the B6. Let me get a C6. At least with C6, I'll have a 3D passive technology with the glasses and everything. And I'll have the OLED at the same time. And I did videos. You guys can type it in. Type in Mr. 4K Upscaler C6 OLED And I love that TV. I got to tell you, I probably of all of the OLEDs, I think C6 was my favorite because it was a full package for me. It really had 3D, and I loved my 3D. I know they discontinued the 3D, but I really loved the 3D on that TV. That TV had one of the best 3D effect that I have ever seen, and I tested a lot of 3D TVs ever since the Avatar and Jim Cameron, Panasonic, and all that. Okay, before I even started doing this YouTube thing. All right, that was way before, like 2009, 2010. Okay, way before this YouTube channel, and I'm giving some brief history. I love the C6. But then they announced the C7. And as a matter of fact, I had C6 for 3 months prior to that. And then right after the February, they released the C7. And I said, man, let me return this. Let me get a C7. It's an extra $800 or so. I returned it and I got myself a C7 to try it out. Yes, C7 was a bit brighter. Uh, and it had more HDR formats. It had hybrid log gamma. It had Technicolor, advanced HDR. It had Dolby Vision and built-in Dolby Atmos. So it had all of the above. HDR10. Look, I loved the C7. I love the LG user interface with the Magic Controller. I love the picture quality. There was nothing that I didn't like about that TV, from the picture quality to the user interface to the remote, to all these HDR formats available. It was all great. It was all great. My only complaint was the way I had to update the TV. You have to go to the LG website, then you have to use the USB, which I did a video on that. You have to use a USB dongle, memory USB dongle. You have to use that, and then you had to go to their website, download the firmware, and then use the firmware, and then plug it in on the USB on the side of the C7. Put that USB stick in, and then you had to update it through that way to get the game mode HDR. If you watch those videos, you will see I did actually video on that. Everything I tell you here, guys, you can look it up. You can go and search, and I have over 3,300 videos. It's all there. So when people ask me for credibility, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just simply saying that everything I tell you here, it's there. You guys can look it up. I'm not just talking out of my butt trying to make myself look better or something, even though some people assume that. They think that I'm trying to quote unquote be some cocky person or whatever. Listen, if you think that way, then dude, I feel sorry for you. Like I said, you guys can type in everything I say here, type in my name with the OLEDs, and you will see all those videos. They're all there. Every single one of them is there. I didn't delete none of them. It's all there. Everything, including the whole drama with Hard 8. Everything is there for the records, for you guys to look and see and make your own judgment, make your own decisions. Okay, it's all there. Credibility. Think of it like a public library. It's all there for you guys to look and watch. Now, but getting back to my point, I had no issue with C7 or picture quality. I did a 43-minute video on it. Yes, 43-minute video about that OLED and how much I love that TV. I had no issues with that TV. Okay, with neither one of them. I loved them. I didn't get a burn-in. I didn't get a retention of the screen, but that's because I didn't have those TVs for such a long period of time. Within a year, I had 3 different OLEDs. So I didn't spend enough time, And sure, I was being very careful the way I was doing tests on the OLED. I didn't abuse the OLED. I turned the OLED light to 73%. I was mainly watching it in the dark. So I took a lot of precautions when I was testing because they were so expensive. And the last thing I want to do is have a TV without a warranty and then breaks with such expensive brand new technology, okay? Because the OLED was still brand new and was still expensive, okay? We're talking 2016, 2017. And I mean, they're still expensive. OLED is still expensive. All right. And that's why I didn't get a burn in. That's why I didn't get a retention on the screen. All right. Even though if you do get a retention on the screen, there's a way to do that. There's a way to clean that off. You know, I mean, if you do have a retention on the screen, there's a way for you to clean that off. It takes about 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and you can clean it off. Uh, so here's what I want to say, guys. I never had any issues with picture quality. I never had any problems with LG and OLED in terms of picture quality and the features. They're built in, the Dolby Atmos built in, the Dolby Vision, all of the HDR formats built in. I never had any problems with that. I loved all of that. I loved every single aspect of that. And I didn't care that it didn't get brighter more than 800 nits. I didn't care about that. I love the picture quality of the OLED. The problem is this: looking at statistics, when I say statistics, I have to look at it at majority, not in a minority. Okay, sure, I'm glad that there's some of you out there who are being very careful and you're taking care of that TV, you're babysitting it. Good for you. But I cannot look at it as a minority, certain individuals who have this TV. I have to look at statistics. I have to look at the chart. I have to look at the majority of people who had this problem and this issue. And there was a lot of people that had this problem and they had this issue with the burn in and retention on the screen, but mainly burn in. Okay. And that's something that scared me away. That's something that really made me kind of like start thinking about, I don't know, man, should I invest into this? You know, I'm kind of a busy man as it is. I don't think I have time to be babysitting this TV. Something eventually will happen to this TV. You can't be that careful. Just like sometimes you can't avoid a car accident. You know, it's going to happen. You're going to not pay attention, whatever. Dude, you can never be 100% careful. I don't care who you are. You cannot be 100% careful. You will split second and you're going to forget and something's going to happen. Okay. So this is something that scared me, considering it's expensive technology, and then it's very expensive to fix it, to replace it. All of these elements just scared me. Okay, if this was a cheap technology, you know, if it wasn't that expensive, okay, maybe I could like overlook that and take a warranty or whatever. But considering how expensive it is, guys, I just couldn't recommend it, you know, and that's why I returned it. And if you look at statistics, if you look at how many people had this problem and this issue, it's a big number. You guys can go into Google, you can research it, you will see these problems. Also, you guys can look and see that LG is struggling with sales. Even to this day, they're struggling with sales, and that's why you don't see too much of OLED commercials. Uh, Not many people are buying it. It's a very, very small percentage of people who buy OLED. And that's not enough for the OLED, for the LG to invest into a technology that it's costing them more. Think about this. Think about the logic here. It's costing them more to produce that OLED TV, and then they're not making enough money for that production in South Korea and the LG labs. So of course they're not going to put too much emphasis on something that they're not selling well. All right. And why is it that it's not selling well? But the reason why it's not selling well is not so much about the burn-in, even though that's the one issue. People can babysit that TV, and you know, if you're careful enough, you can have that TV last you 2 years, 3 years, maybe longer, depending on how you take care of that TV. I mean, if you're that super perfect, if you're like John Wick, disciplined, perfect, fine. But let's face the majority, it's not. But the major reason why people are not buying OLED, it's because it's expensive. It's really expensive. Okay. Not everyone's super rich. Not everyone has truckload of money. Middle class, majority of people, you know, who work hard, they're not going to spend that kind of cash on that TV. Okay. Especially them knowing that they have a good percentage of burn-in that can happen. People who have families, kids, they don't have time to worry about that, and they're not going to spend another $1,000 on top of what they already paid. That's expensive to get a replacement, and then hopefully that replacement is not going to cost them even more. That's $4,000, $5,000 down the road. They don't want to do that. Okay, majority of people cannot afford that. Okay, they have houses, they got mortgages, they got a lot of debt that they have to pay off. So this is why it's hard for me to recommend OLED. It has nothing to do with the picture quality. Picture quality is great on the OLED, but the problem is, number one, it's a fragile technology. It does have that risk of burning and retention on the screen. And longevity of the TV, who knows how long it's going to last you. And number two, it's really expensive. I mean, it's hard for me to recommend something that's really, really expensive, but at the same time, you have to babysit and you have to worry about all these problems and issues that are persistent. They exist on that panel. So hopefully this clarifies why I stopped recommending OLED and why I returned my OLED. Guys, it was just too expensive. Knowing all of these problems, knowing all of these issues, it was just difficult for me to, recommend that TV. Now, if you want to have it, you can have it, but you got to remember that there's that risk. You also have to remember you bought a very expensive technology, and that technology is going to cost you. Now, if you have the money, and money is not an issue, if you're rich and you don't care, dude, God bless you, good for you. But if you're middle class and you got, you got to pay this, you got to pay that. Maybe you went through a nasty divorce. You have to stop paying child support or whatever it is. You're not going to be buying that TV. That's too much for you, too much responsibility. Okay, so you're not going to be buying that. People who are going to be buying that TV most likely are the ones who have the money and they don't care. They just want to have whatever they want to have, they want to have. Okay, if you're that type of person, then good for you. But I'm not speaking for super rich. I'm not here advertising for super wealthy people. I'm talking to you, the middle class, everyday Joe, everyday Mary. Okay, people who are struggling out there trying to make it, week by week, and all that stuff. So I'm speaking to you. I'm not speaking to the super wealthy, super rich. They don't care. They're not going to watch this. They'll buy whatever they want to buy. Why? Because they can. It's simple as that. They have money, all right? So they don't care. They'll buy whatever they want to buy. And if it breaks, they don't give a shit. They'll get something else. They have money, okay? Money's pouring down the pipeline to them every day. They wipe their ass with $100 bills every day. They don't care, okay? I work for some of these wealthy, rich people. I know how they act, I know how they are, and I know they don't care when it comes to the money. They have it. It's not an issue for them. They just want stuff to be done. Said, I want to have this, that. I want this done by this, and that time. Here's the deadline. Do it. Here's the cash. All right, that's wealthy people. But I'm not speaking to wealthy people. I'm speaking to you. People who are middle class and are struggling and trying to make ends meet and they're working their asses off. I'm speaking to you. Okay. Regular Joes, regular Marys. So hopefully this 24-minute video will clarify once and for all why I cannot recommend OLED. I mean, I explained it to you, and like I said, I had OLED. I have videos on it. You guys can look them up. People need to stop confusing me that I don't like the picture quality of the OLED. I love the picture quality of the OLED. Everything about that television is great, except one thing. It's fragile. When I say great, I mean love the picture quality, love the audio, love the user interface, love many features it has built inside, but all of that goes down the toilet when you have this risk of burn-in, retention, and you got to be very careful that the sunlight, that the light is not hitting that television, that panel. You got to hide it away from the sunlight, okay? So on top of that, you also have to worry about the warranty. You have to worry about just how expensive that panel is, and are they going to cover that? Are they going to replace it? All of that stuff, man, it's just too expensive. All right, OLED is just too expensive. Even today, even the B8 or the B7 for 1,500, even plus tax 1,600. Even that, it's still expensive for 55-inch. All right, when you can add another 300 and have yourself Q8FN, Q9FN, or Sony 900F. There's other options out there. TCLs, VZO, P series, Q series. There's many different options out there, guys. And but if you want the really good OLED, you're looking at 3,000, 4,000. A1E is still $3,000 for 55-inch. That's as cheap as you're gonna get it. It's $3,000 for 55-inch. You want to go to 65-inch, you're looking at $4,000, or maybe 3,800 plus tax, still $4,000. Guys, they're still expensive. All right, they haven't even dropped the price on them, and that's why they're having a hard time selling it. How do I know this? Because I know this, man. I have people who work on this field, who work in the market, who work on selling televisions. I know people who do this, and they're telling me they're struggling. They're struggling with the sales of OLED. The company LG is struggling as well with sales of OLED. Okay? They're not selling that well. If they were selling that well, then everybody would be buying it. Everyone would have it. You would have a hard time finding one, as a matter of fact. Hopefully this video, I know it's almost half an hour, it's 26 minutes. I really hope that this clarifies my honesty about the OLED. But I'm pretty sure even me saying this, it's not going to be enough of clarification for these Sony, not Sony, the LG fans of OLED who already purchased the OLED. They will defend their product no matter what. They will not accept it or any kind of difference of opinion based on what I have to say here, because they want to defend their purchase. I understand you have that TV and you're going to justify your purchase. I'm not here to justify anything for you. I'm just here to tell you my experience and why I cannot recommend it. Now, if you love OLED, hey man, good for you. You can have it, keep it. But just remember about these risks, and just remember that it's a very expensive technology. Now you're happy while you have it, while you're enjoying it. But when it breaks down, then it's going to be a sad day for you. Then you're going to be crying and moaning and bitching, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's the problem with people. When everything's going well, oh, yippee-dee-dee-dee-doo. But when it goes down, oh, no. Yeah, well, I told you so. I told you so. Okay? So, half an hour. I'm sorry it's a half an hour, but I really wanted to clarify this, because people have been bugging the hell out of me about this issue, about the OLED. If OLED was something that was so great, that was selling well, and it was affordable, I would have it. I would have the OLED. I would have the B8. It would be sitting right now in my living room. I would be testing on it. I would have it. But I just cannot get myself into something that's a mixed bag. OLED, it's a mixed bag. Well, there you have it, guys. I'm just being honest here. I'm giving you my experience. I'm not saying don't buy OLED, buy it. I'm just simply saying I cannot recommend it personally. If you want to buy it, buy it. It's up to you. But just remember, there's risks involved, and you have to babysit. Even with the warranty, you don't know if they're going to get that TV replaced, or if they're going to, depending on how big of a problem is, they keep changing the rules and whatnot. So do you want to take that risk? Do you want to take that risk? I cannot answer that for you. That's something you got to answer for yourself. I'm just here to tell you my experience. I'm here to tell you how I feel about it, because I had it. I had all three different models of the OLED. Okay, so hopefully this half an hour video clarifies this once and for all for you guys. Okay, there you have it. Thank you for watching.